Good morning, children. Today we are going to learn about the poem, a very notable work of Henry Vivian Louis Derozio, that is To India, My Native Land. You can see the name of the poem and written by Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. Now, before we start the explanation of the poem, first of all, we need to know who was Henry Louis Vivian Derozio. Derozio was an Anglo-Indian who was born to Portuguese parents. He was a poet, a radical thinker, a social reformer, as well as a teacher. He was a person who established the Young Bengal movement. And not only that, he was strictly against the British rule in India. And he had also a vision of seeing an independent India in front of his eyes. Now, through this poem, the poet has explained certain objectives that why he has written this poem. What the objectives are there hidden in the poem that we will come to know while we will start reading. Now, the objectives that the poet wants to explain to his readers are, first of all, his love for his motherland, that is India. Secondly, he wants to show how poetry encourages people to express their love towards their country. And not only that, even it helps the selfless patriotic feelings to be expressed in the sonnet structure. Now, when we are talking about sonnet, first of all, we must know what is a sonnet. Many of us are not knowing what is sonnet. This term might be new for them. So, sonnet is a form of a poem that originated in Europe, mainly in Italy. It consists of 14 lines. This is the characteristic of a sonnet, that a sonnet never crosses 14 lines. It is derived from the Italian word sonetto, meaning little sound or little song. The sonnet follows a strict rhyme scheme and a specific structure. Now, when we are talking about sonnet, then how can we forget William Shakespeare, who was very well known for writing sonnets? Now, his sonnet was written in iambic pentameter with the rhyme scheme AB AB, CD CD, EF EF, GG. This was a strict rhyme scheme that William Shakespeare used to follow in his sonnet. Now, the last two lines of the sonnet, that was the GG, was known as the rhyming couplets. The structure of a typical Italian sonnet of this type included two parts. The first part is known as the octave, which consists of the 8 lines. And the next part, that is the rest 6 lines, was known as the sestet. So this poem that Derozio has written is a Petrarchan sonnet with iambic pentameter, and the rhyme scheme is AB AB, AB, CC, DE, DE, FF. That is, when we will read this poem, we will come to see the rhyme scheme of the poem, that how the rhyme scheme has been maintained. Now, in this poem, Derozio mainly focuses on the theme of nationalism and patriotism. Derozio here writes about the past glory of India and how the country that was once worshipped as a deity or as a goddess has been chained down to the lowest depths. Derozio even writes about some of that heritage of the distant past and in return hopes for a kind wish from the country and its people. So this was the background, or this was the beginning that we can tell that the poet wants to express through his poem. Now we will start the line-wise explanation. Now, first of all, see the first 4 lines of the poem. My country, in thy day of glory past, thy means your. A beauteous halo circled round thy brow, and worshipped as a deity thou wast. Where is that glory? Where that reverence now? Now see, the first one I have written as A. Second one I have written as B. Now see, past is matching with vast. So it is also A. Brow, now. So it is also B. So the first four lines rhyme scheme I have got A, B, A, B. Okay. Now we will go for the explanation of these four lines. Now through this poem, Derozio portrays India, his motherland, as a deity. I have told that India was previously worshipped as by the patriots and as the goddess, as a deity. Derozio looks back to ancient history when India was glorious in every field, whether it's arts, science, or architecture. It was a period when India was famous for advanced civilization and rich cultural traditions. Even learned men from all over the world visited India to enrich themselves and also their own cultures. The poet refers to that time when India was worshipped worldwide like a goddess. When the poet was writing the poem, India was under the British rule. East India Company and the British government ransacked India for their own country's benefits. Hence, the condition of India worsened day by day. And at the time of Derozio, her state of affairs was so poor that he couldn't find anything plausible in her, and it made the poet sad. That's why he asked, where is that glory? Where that reverence now? That is the previous glory that the country was having, the previous respect that it was having. Where has it gone? Where has it lost? Why India has become chained now? Why somebody else is coming and ruling our nation? Now let's move on to the next four lines. Thy eagle pinion is chained down at last, and grovelling in the lowly dust art thou. Thy minstrel hath no wreath to weave for thee, save the sad story of thy misery. Now see again, past, vast, last. So it is also matching. I will give it the A. Brow, now, thou. It's also matching, so I will give B. Now see, it came D. D is not matching with the previous lines. So I will give it name of C. Save the sad story of thy misery. So what would be the rhyming scheme? D and misery, it's matching, so it would be C. So see, I have got the first 8 lines A, B, A, B, A, B, C, C. This is the rhyme scheme of the first 8 lines of the octave part. This part is the octave. This is the octave part. So I've got the rhyme scheme of the octave part A, B, A, B, A, B, C, C. Now let's come for the explanation. Now here in this second part of the octave, the poet sees India as an eagle. What's an eagle is? An eagle is a monarch of the birds. Now in the previous part, we have seen that the poet has compared his motherland to the goddess having a beautiful aura circle her forehead. That is, we have seen here the halo, a beauteous halo circled round thy brow. That is a aura that keeps on circling the angel's head. Similarly, the poet has seen the motherland also. So, such a shift in comparison signifies that the poet is now focusing on the worldly aspects of his country. So, previously when he was portraying his motherland as an angel, as a goddess. And in the second shift, someone who has been chained. This sudden shift in the thought shows the real aspect of the material world. The poet visualizes that the country's wings are clipped, that is, the British government has completely chained India. That's why it is groveling in the dust. It signifies that the British government had closed all the channels of improvement in India. That is, the British government, after it had chained down India, it had left not a single field in which India can prosper now. Now here it is said, thy minstrel hath no wreath to weep for thee, save the sad story of thy misery. Now who is thy minstrel? By thy minstrel the poet refers to himself. He says that he has no flowers to weave a garland for her motherland. So what he can do? Why he cannot weave a garland for her motherland? Because it refers to the scarcity of the resources in his country due to the drainage of the wealth. That is, after the British had conquered, started ruling India, they had started to take away all the resources, precious jewels that we were having, that started to take it for their own country's welfare, own country's benefit. So our country was left with nothing precious to be gifted. So he only has the sad story of his motherland to compose an elegy in the condolence. So what he is left with? Nothing, but only the sad story of his motherland that he can weave in the form of a story and can present it in front of the readers. Now let's come to the sestet part. This second part is known as a sestet. It comprises of the 6 lines. Octave part was comprising of the 8 lines. Sestet part comprises of the 6 lines. Now here we see, well, let me dive into the depths of time and bring from out the ages that have rolled a few small fragments of those wrecks sublime which human eyes may never more behold, and let the guerdon of my labor be, my fallen country, one kind wish for thee. So here in the sestet part, what is the rhyme scheme? Time. Time is not matching with previous any other words. So I will give it D. Rolled. It is not matching with others, so I will give it E. Time and sublime. It's matching, so it will be D. Rolled, behold. It's matching, it will be E. Then B. B, D. With whom is it matching? On one hand, it is matching with C, C. See? D, misery, B, D. It's matching with the previous two. But it is the second part, it is a sestet. So I cannot take the octave part rhyming scheme over here. I have to give the new rhyme scheme, that is F, F. So here the sestet part rhyming scheme is D, E, D, E, F, F. Octave part is A, B, A, B, A, B, C, C, D, E, D, E, F, F. Clear? So now come for the explanation. In this sestet part, that is in this part and this whole part from line number 9 to line number 14, Derozio voices his resolution to save the country from all kinds of deprivations and deteriorations. He wants to dive into the depths of history, where he can find the long lost history of his country. There he can, the glorious past of the country contains the materials for future improvement. The British rulers tried to demean it for colonizing the minds of the Indians, destroying confidence in native culture and history. Colonizers can control the colonized for a long time. The poet stands strongly against that. Through this poem, Derozio expresses his aim to spread historical consciousness among Indians. He resorts to his motherland to wish him luck. If he succeeds, he wants nothing in return from his country. So here in this part we can see that the Britishers, those who had tried to completely control the mind of the Indians, which was for many of the Indians it was quite easy for them to control, but for the many they were not able to do it. And once the colonizers will be able to colonize the Indians, so what would happen? Our history would be lost. So in order to make our countrymen free of this British rule, we have to make them aware of the history of our country. So the poet takes the responsibility in his hand and tells his motherland that he will dive into the depths to find out what the history of his country was. He would bring it in front of his countrymen so that he would be able to make them awaken. And if he succeeds in his attempt, he wants nothing in return from his motherland. He just wants to see his motherland completely free. So that was the explanation of the poem To India, My Native Land. That is a tribute that Henry Louis Vivian Derozio had given to his motherland, which is no doubt a beautiful poem. He has explained very nicely. The use of the words that he has done is mesmerizing. I hope this explanation would be helpful for you. If it is helpful, please do let me know. Thank you and have a nice day.